Okay, inshallah. We're gonna begin, inshallah. Just a quick recap of last lesson. So last lesson we went over how seerah is really important in our life. How seerah, learning about the Prophet ﷺ. When you love someone so much, like for example, we love our parents. Why? Because they do so much for us, right? And because we love them, we want to learn more about them. We want to go find out how their parents were, how their life was in their home country, okay? What their favorite food is, what their favorite color is, what they like, what they dislike. Similarly, the more we know about the Prophet ﷺ, the more our love will grow for him, inshallah. And we spoke about Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Can anyone tell me the reason why did we touch upon the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? We will finish Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's story today, inshallah. So why did we speak about Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? How is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam linked to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? How is the Prophet's lineage linked to the Prophet? Out of all the other prophets, Prophet Musa, Prophet Noah, how is Prophet Muhammad linked to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? If anyone could remember, you can write the chat option, inshallah. MashaAllah. So he was a Prophet's prophet grandfather, okay? Not great grandfather, prophet grandfather, okay? Because Prophet Muhammad, the closest prophet to him in lineage, if you look at the slide, you look at this slide, okay, the closest prophet above our Prophet, okay, from his ascendants was Prophet Ismail. And Prophet Ismail was the direct child of Prophet Ibrahim. So after Prophet Ismail, no prophet came until Prophet Muhammad. Whereas if you look at the other son, Ishaq, from Ishaq, Yaqub came. Yaqub's son was Dawood. Later on, Yaqub's son was Yusuf, sorry. And Yaqub from his descendants, Dawood came. And then his son was Suleiman. And later on, Zakaria, Yahya, Isa. And all these prophets came. So from Prophet Ismailis leg, from that side, only one prophet came, and he was our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, can everyone mention one thing they learned new from last lesson? So before we carry on, if you could mention one thing you learned new from last lesson, something you didn't know about the seerah and last lesson you learned it, if you could mention. All these little ways and methods will inshallah help us recap the previous lesson. So when we do start this lesson, inshallah, it will run smooth. We will know exactly where we left off from last lesson. So if everyone could mention one point, it doesn't have to be a paragraph, it could be just one or two sentences, one point, one thing you learned from our last lesson, inshallah. Everyone can mention one point, then inshallah our revision like that could get done. Jazakallah, brother Abdurrauf. Prophet Ibrahim was born in Ur, very good. Prophet Ibrahim was born in a place called Ur, which is in Iraq, very good. So Sister Fawzia, brother Abdurrauf already has mentioned it. Okay, he was born in Ur. Sister Sarah, very young. Yes, he was a believer and he was very intelligent from a very young age. And he became a prophet at the age of only 16. Okay, Jazakallah khairan for these little reminders. Some quick questions before we dive into our next lesson is, so Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, okay, how did idol worshipping start in his house? Okay, Jazakallah, Sister Saira. He was saved from the 7 days of burning fire. MashaAllah, the fire was ignited for 30 days, and he was left in that fire for 7 days. How did idol worshipping start in Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's family? Who was the main root? Was it his father, mother, grandfather? Who was it? MashaAllah, brother Abdurrahman. His father was a builder of idols. Very good. His father was a builder of idols. His father's name also comes in the Quran as well. His father's name was Azar. He was a carver of idols. He would carve idols, make idols, and yeah, he would get people to buy them, tell Ibrahim to sell them, and stuff like that. MashaAllah, very good. And another question is, as Prophet Ibrahim is the great is the grandfather prophet of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hence why we're learning about him. What happened on the day of festival when his family went away? What did he say to his father, and what did he do on that day? And if everyone could just mention a point so we can get a quick recap done. So on the day where the full village went for a festival, Ibrahim Alayhi said something to his father. His father took a different meaning, and his meaning was obviously different. And like that, yeah, mashallah, says he was sick and he smashed the small idol. Very good. Jazakallah, sister Fawzi as well. He said he was sick. Okay, in Arabic, he said, Inni, I am saqim, I am sick. And his father thought he was sick as in ill, but he meant I was sick and tired. MashaAllah, brother Abdul, he broke all the small idols and kept the accent on the big idol. So the big, so it looked like, for example, like as a profession, I'm a teacher. Okay, so if I go to a classroom and I see the scribbling on my whiteboard, and I see a student with the whiteboard pen or the crayon or whatever, I will assume that it's that student, right? So that's what Prophet Ibrahim did. Look at a very young boy. He put the axe on the big idol's shoulder. And then he told them, when they asked him, did you do it? He didn't lie and say, I didn't do it. That would be him lying. He said, why don't you ask the big idol, okay, if he can speak? And obviously, the big idol couldn't speak. And the big idol couldn't speak. And they knew that he couldn't speak. So he basically, he made them become shameful, okay? They were ashamed. Then we spoke about how he was thrown into the fire, and after he came out the fire, could you all mention one city or one country he went to before we start our next lesson, inshallah? So where did he go? So after he came out the fire after 7 days, where did he go to? Which cities did he go to? You don't have to mention in order. Any city that he visited, if you could mention it, please. A quick recap. MashaAllah, sister. He went to Palestine. Very good. Babylon as well. Very good, MashaAllah. Babylon, very good. Okay, that's fine. MashaAllah. So he went to Palestine. Okay, then he went to Babylon. Okay, then from there he went to Haran, a village in Syria. Very good. So that's where we left off till our last lesson. Now we're moving on to the next part, inshallah. If you have a pen and paper, you do make notes, inshallah. Today we're going to be doing a lot of his life, inshallah. So Ibrahim alayhis salam, he migrated to Egypt. Now what happened was, he was living in Palestine, okay, but a drought happened in Palestine, okay. You know, remember we said he settled in Hebron for a long time. A drought happened, a famine happened. Now, a famine is when there's a shortage of rain, there's no rain. So if there's no rain, what would happen? Then your crops won't grow. If your crops don't grow, then your animals can't eat anything. Your animals die, your crops die, and you're left with nothing. So obviously in back home countries, you need crops, yeah? Because people make a living out of it. People eat from these crops. You need animals, right? People use the milk. Okay, there's many benefits of having animals. People use it for travel. People use it for buying and selling. People use it for many things, right? But in a famine, both of them were dying. The crops were dying, the vegetation, the animals and everything, the livestock, everything was dying. So what happened was, they went to Egypt. Now, when they went to Egypt, there was a king in Egypt who was very corrupt. The king was very, very corrupt. Anyone he liked, he would take them, and he would basically, if it was a beautiful lady, he would just take them and he would marry them. Yeah, he was very, very cruel and very evil king. So when he saw Sarah was the wife of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. When he saw Sarah was very beautiful, and he wanted to take Sarah. So he asked Prophet Ibrahim, who is Sarah to you? Ibrahim alayhi salam, again, he used his brain and he said, she is my sister. He meant my sister as in my sister in Islam, and Sarah was his cousin sister. Okay, so he meant cousin sister, or he meant my sister in Islam. But the king thought blood sister, so I'm not going to take this woman away from Ibrahim. She can stay with Ibrahim. Okay, if Ibrahim said my wife, the king would have been, she's my wife. Now I'm going to take her away now. Ibrahim again, like before, he said I am ill. Again, this time he said I am. This is my sister. So he meant like my cousin sister, or he meant in his head. His intention was sister in faith, but the king obviously took literal meaning. The king really liked Sarah. So the king, what he done was the king gave Sarah a gift. The gift was a slave girl. Yeah. The king found Sarah to be like a special lady. Okay. And he said, you know what? You're a special lady. I'm going to give you this slave girl called Hajar. So now there were three of them, Ibrahim, alayhi salam, Sarah, his wife, and Sarah's slave girl, Hajar. Now they stayed in Egypt for a while. Now remember they were in Hebron before. When the drought finished in Hebron, Al-Khalil, he came back to Hebron. And Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sarah were very, very old. And they couldn't have any children. Yeah. Some scholars say they were over 70, 80. Very, very old, but no children. So Sarah said to Ibrahim alayhi salam, look, Ibrahim alayhi salam, I have a slave girl called Hajar. Why do you marry her? Yes, maybe, hopefully, you can have a child with her. So Ibrahim alayhi salam married Hajar, the slave girl of Sarah. She was freed, married, and soon Hajar became pregnant. And the angel came and told them that name the baby Ismail. Ismail means Allah heard. The word Sami'a in Arabic means to hear. Ismail means Allah heard. What did Allah hear? Allah heard the dua. Ibrahim cried for many years, tens of years. For a long time he cried. Imagine he's having a child at the age of 70, 80. He cried for many years. So Allah is saying, Allah heard Ismail, Allah heard the dua. Now, look how strong Prophet Ibrahim is. After I finish this slide, inshallah, I will take some questions. Imagine after 70, 80 years, he was given a child. After 70, 80 years of patience, he was given a child. How beloved would this child be to him? He waited for 70, 80 years of patience. This child must be really beloved to him. Allah tested him. What does Allah say to him? Allah instructed him after a few months. Allah told Ibrahim that take Hajar and Ismail and take them to a abandoned place in Arabia. Take them to a place, abandoned place in Arabia, which is now known as Mecca. And as we mentioned, so Ibrahim al-Islam had to take Ismail and Hajar, and he took them to Mecca. He left Sarah behind in Palestine. He left Sarah behind in Palestine. And later on, Sarah had her own child as well, Ishaq. We'll come to that later, inshallah. Now, Mecca, for those who've been to Mecca, now, obviously Mecca, you have Allah's house, you have hotels, you have restaurants, you have everything in Mecca now, right? Cars, everything, vegetation. There's basically every single thing in Mecca now. But before, it was just a barren land. There was no greenery. It was just a desert. No trees, no well, no people, no house, nothing. No animals, nothing. It was just a barren land. It was a dead land. There was no one there. Imagine you had a son after a very long time, and Allah telling you to go and leave your son, your baby son, who you had after 70, 80 years, and your wife, to leave them there and come back. But look how strong Hajar alayhi salam is. She said, has Allah ordered you to do this? Ibrahim alayhi salam said, yes. Then she confidently said, then Allah will not waste us. Allah will not let us die. And Ibrahim alayhi salam made a dua. If you look at the screen, said, oh Lord, oh Allah, I have settled some of my descendants, some of my family in an uncultivated valley, in a place where there's no cultivation, where there's no vegetation, near your sacred house. Our Lord, that they may establish prayer, so make hearts among the people inclined towards them and provide for them from the fruits that they might be grateful. So he made this dua. I have left some of my descendants in a place in Mecca where there's no cultivation around, near your sacred house. So at that time, there was no Kaaba. There was some foundations left from Prophet Adam's time, maybe some stakes or maybe some sign, but there was no Kaaba actual house. Okay. And he's making dua to Allah that, oh Allah, make people's heart inclined towards my family and give them some food. And then what happened was, Ibrahim Islam stayed with them for a bit, and he went back to Palestine as well. And every month he would come and he would visit his family, Hajar and Ismail, and he would go. Now the food he left with Hajar, it finished. Ismail and Hajar had finished the food. And now there's no water left for baby Ismail. He's very thirsty now. Baby Ismail is very thirsty and he wants water, he wants food, and there's no food around. So Hajar, what did she do? Does anyone know what she done? Anyone in the classroom know which mountain she ran from which mountain to which mountain? Anyone know? If you do, you can answer the chat. If not, inshallah, I'll mention it. So where did Hajar alayhi salam, where did she run from which mountain to which mountain to look for water for her baby Ismail? She ran from a mountain called Safa and Marwa. When you go for Umrah or Hajj, you will do that, inshallah. Jazakallah, Sister Saira. So Safa and Marwa. Has anyone here in the classroom been for Umrah or Hajj? If yes, you can write, yeah, been for Hajj and Umrah. Anyone? Has anyone? Okay, sister, you haven't. What about Brother Abdul and Sister Sarah? Have you been for Hajj and Umrah? Or any of the two? You haven't? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take you all, inshallah, and take us all many times. I've been for Umrah 3 times, but I haven't been for Hajj. I did plan to go for Hajj. Okay, I did plan to go for Hajj. I had everything booked, but due to the pandemic and everything, so our Hajj got cancelled. But inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take us to his blessed land many times. I mean, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Just make intention, inshallah, and Allah will do the rest. So what happened was, she went from Safa and Marwa back and forth 7 times. She went back and forth 7 times until she saw an angel there, Angel Jibreel, and with his wing, he hit the ground. Some people say Ismail started kicking the ground, okay, and water started gushing out. So it could be that the angel with his wing he hit the ground, or it could be that Ismail he hit the ground with his feet. Water started gushing out. And when the Hajar thought if the water all starts to gush out, then all the water would finish, right? So she said to the water, Zam, Zam. Zam, Zam in Arabic means to stop or to stay. She wanted the water to remain where it is. She didn't want the water to gush out and then stop. Okay, because if the water gushes out, then it'll be of no use. Whereas if the water stays, then hopefully it can go under the ground and become a well. Understand that? If the water gushed out, soon the water would finish, right? If she said to the water, Zam, Zam, in Arabic, Zam means to stop. So she said, stop, stop, stay, stay. That's why it's got this famous name, Zamzam. So Zamzam means to stop, stop, or stay, stay where it is. And this water, they use this water, and this water is best water. Let's understand this, yes? Like I mentioned before, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam is very close to us in religion. So when we go for Umrah, sisters and brothers, when we go for Umrah, we have to go from Mount Safa and Mount Marwa. It's not like a mountain anymore. It's become like tiles, and it's much easier now. Obviously, you're indoor, but we have to go up and down the mountain 7 times, just like Hajar did. We drink the Zamzam water all because of Hajar and Ismail. We go around the Kaaba all because Ibrahim and Ismail, they built the Kaaba. So everything in Umrah and Hajj is related and is linked back to Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ismail, Hajar, his family. It's amazing, right? So this action of going from Marwa, Safa to Marwa 7 times is called Sa'i. As you can see on the board, on the screen, it says Sa'i, an action of Umrah, action of Hajj. This has become so beloved to Allah, this has become part of Hajj and Umrah. We have to do Sa'i, run from Safa and Marwa back and forth 7 times. So we go around Allah's house anti-clockwise 7 times, and then we do Safa Marwa 7 times in Umrah, and then men they shave their head or they cut their hair, and a woman can cut a bit of the hair as well, and then you're finished, your Umrah is done. That's our first slide done. Has anyone got any questions so far? If you have any question on the first slide, if you want me to repeat anything, do let me know. If it's okay, then we can carry on. So remember that Prophet Ibrahim alayhi is a very close prophet to us. I told you in Salah we say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Very, very close prophet to our faith. In the next few slides, you'll see how close of a prophet he is to us. Okay, so that's why we will speak about Prophet Ibrahim in the first module, because he is the grandfather of Prophet Muhammad. We have to know about this prophet as well. Moving on to the next slide, inshallah. Now, remember. Okay, Sister Sarah said the Kaaba was first set by not the original building of the Kaaba, but the foundation was set by Prophet Adam. Okay, in the next few slides, we will mention this. It's going to come in about 1 or 2 slides, inshallah, and I will speak more on it, sister, inshallah. So now, because in Mecca, there's no one living in Mecca, okay? The only people living in Mecca is Hajar and Ismail, no one else. Ibrahim would come once a month or twice a month, he would come, stay with his family for a few days and go away. Now, I will give you lot some advice that if you ever are stuck in a desert or something happens, yes, and you can't find water, sometimes you think you can see water, yeah, you think you can see a sea, but it's a mirage. It looks like it's close to you, but the more you walk towards it, it goes further away. But one way to know where there's water is look around the sky. If you see birds flying in an area, that means there's water underneath. But what happened was, some people called 𝐿, if you look at the top of the slide, they're from Yemen, yeah? 𝐿, they saw some birds flying around, yeah? Because remember, Hajar and Ismail, they found Zamzam water. So birds, they saw the water and decided flying around the area. The people of 𝐿, they noticed birds flying around and they were thirsty. They said, when there is we need water, we're from Yemen, let's go get some water. They went to find Hajar and Ismail there. So they made a deal with Hajar and Ismail. They said, look, Hajar and Ismail, we'll give you clothes, we'll give you food, we'll give you shelter, we'll make a house for you. All you need to give us is water. So like that, now in Mecca, there's Hajar Ismail and there's the people of 𝐿, they're all living in Mecca. Yeah. And like I said, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he would come from Palestine to Mecca once in a while, and he would also preach about Allah to the people of 𝐿 as well. Then Allah tested Ibrahim alayhi salam again. Every single prophet went through so much test. Yeah. Prophet Muhammad went through test. Okay. His mother passed away at the age of 6. His father passed away before he was born. His grandfather passed away at the age of 8. Every single prophet went through so much test. So did Prophet Ibrahim. Imagine he had a son after so many years, close to 100 years. Allah said, go leave them in a barren land where there's no one there. Now he's 10 years old. His son has grown up. He's rarely seen his son once or twice a month. Now Allah gave him a dream. In his dream, Allah showed him that to sacrifice, to slaughter his son. And Prophet's dreams are true. The Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had a dream. He was sacrificing his son. And he went and he told this to Ismail. He said, Ismail, I have been instructed by my Lord Allah to sacrifice you. Ismail said, yes, go for it, Dad. If Allah has instructed you, go for it. Look at the iman, look at the faith of Ismail. If that was any other child, they would have run away. They would have called the police. They would have done many other things. They would have said, Dad, you've gone crazy. Move away from me. Don't live with me. Go away, right? Look at the iman, look at the faith of this young boy, Ismail. And they happily agreed. They went to Hajar, she happily agreed. So he was instructed by Allah to take Ismail to a place called Mina. Mina is a place you will go when you go for Hajj, inshallah, everyone. Now, on the way there, can everyone hear me? You can hear me, everyone. Brothers and sisters, can you hear me? Yes, fine. Okay. Had a little technical. So on the way there, for Ibrahim as-salam, once he was taking Ismail on the way there, Iblis, Shaitan, you know Shaitan, Iblis came and tried to stop Prophet Ibrahim many times. We all know who Iblis was, right? Does everyone know who Iblis was? Who Iblis is or who Iblis was? Who is Iblis, everyone? Does anyone know anything about who Iblis is? The master of Shaitan, the main devil. Everyone know Iblis, yeah? Everyone know Iblis? The sisters, you all know Iblis, yeah? Yes, mashallah. Iblis in the beginning, when this world was first created, we're just going off topic for a bit. When this world was first created, Allah first populated this earth with these jinns. Jinns are like human beings, but they're invisible, right? And they have some sort of powers where they can fly, right? They can become invisible and they can shape shift and stuff like that, which human beings don't have. But the jinns, they never listened to Allah. They were killing the jinn prophets. They won't listen to Allah. Besides one jinn, his name was Iblis. He listened to Allah and he became very close to Allah. He would fly to the heavens and he would be with the angels, he would be with Allah. And one day Allah was really happy with Iblis. Yeah, Iblis was a very, very obedient jinn who would listen to Allah and he would worship Allah day and night. Like they say, there's no place in heaven where Iblis hasn't worshipped Allah. Imagine such a good creation of Allah. One day Allah said to the angels that, look, I'm gonna make a leader on this earth. Now Iblis thought it's gonna be him, right? Because he's been close to Allah for a long time. And Allah said, I'm gonna make a leader on this earth. He's gonna be a human being, the first human being, and we're gonna name him Adam. And that got Iblis very angry. Then Allah told the angels to prostrate to Iblis, to prostrate to Adam. All the angels did, Iblis didn't. Iblis wasn't an angel, but he was regarded as an angel due to his level of excellence, his level of worship. Because of that, Iblis didn't. Allah kicked him out of Jannah, and now he's become one of the worst of creations. And he will try his best because he's going to go to Jahannam. He's asked Allah for some time. He said, oh Allah, I'm going to go to Jahannam anyway, but give me some time. And I want to take others with me. I'm gonna misguide your creation. And Allah said, if you misguide them, then uh you will go to Jahannam, and the people who follow you will go to Jahannam. That's fine, Sister Saira. If it does jam, don't worry. The lesson will be recorded. I will give the recording anyway, inshallah. Anything you miss out on. So Iblis came 3 times and he physically tried to stop Ibrahim alayhi from slaughtering Ismail. He physically came and stopped him and he said, look, Ibrahim, yeah, Allah never gave you this dream, Iblis gave you this dream. So Iblis, he came as a human form and told Ibrahim, Ibrahim, Allah never gave you this dream, Iblis gave you this dream, don't do this to your son. And Ibrahim knew that this is not a normal person, this is Iblis. So he picked up 7 stones and he threw at Iblis. And this happened 3 times. That's why when we go for Hajj, inshallah, one day when we all go for Hajj, we're going to have to tell 3 pillars, 3 shaitans. Have you heard of this before? We have to tell 3 like buildings. This is the 3 places where shaitan physically tried to stop Ibrahim from slaughtering Ismail alayhi. So when we go for Hajj, we also do the same action. We pick 7 stones up and we hit these pillars. Exactly where the pillar is was exactly where Shaitan, Iblis, tried to stop Ibrahim alayhi from slaughtering Ismail alayhi. Now, are you understanding how Hajj is very closely linked to Ibrahim alayhi? The exact places where Iblis tried to stop him, he picked up stones and he threw it. Inshallah, when we go for Hajj one day, we're going to do it at the same exact places. We pick up 7 stones and we throw it at the shaitan in the 3 different places. The shaitan's not there, but they put a pillar there. But this is an action to show that how we follow Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And when he started to slaughter his son Ismail, Allah sent an angel, and Allah made the angel swap Prophet Ismail with a ram, with the sheep. Okay, and he sacrificed the ram, the sheep instead. Now, this action became so beloved to Allah. Now Allah has made it a obligatory action for Muslims on Eid al-Adha. Okay, the Eid after the Eid in the days of Hajj, we slaughter animals. We either slaughter in our country or we pay in 4 countries and we slaughter animals, and everyone has to do this. This action is why? Because it came from our beloved Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, Ibrahim alayhi salam is one of the 5 arch prophets. Okay, Allah has sent, how many prophets did Allah sent? Does anyone know? How many prophets altogether did Allah send to this earth? Altogether, how many prophets did Allah send to this earth? No? MashaAllah, Sister Saira, 124,000. So Allah sent 124,000 prophets to this earth. Many MashaAllah, Sister Fawzia. Many prophets, okay, that came at the same time. Only 25 are mentioned in the Quran, and only 5 of them are main arch prophets. One of these arch prophets is Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, slightly going off topic, if you look at the screen, it says there are 3 types of dreams. There are 3 types of dreams. Number 1 is a dream that comes as a glad tidings or warning from Allah. Sometimes we're sleeping and we have a dream. Yeah, it could be a warning from Allah or a glad tidings. Allah might be showing you something, okay, that do this or do that as a warning, or don't do this or don't do that as a warning, or do this and do that, it will be good for you as a glad tidings. Okay, you will be able to know it's a glad tidings or it's a warning. The next dream is dreams caused through the thoughts that are in one's mind regarding one's daily activities. Imagine someone all day, he's been, just say for example, playing football, and his dream he has is playing football. It's because he's been playing football all day. Now, whatever he's done all day, he's going to be dreaming about that. Imagine someone has a test, a driving test tomorrow, and he's been thinking about all day today. In his dream, he might think about, he might be having his driving test. Sometimes we have dreams, the pointless dreams, they don't mean anything. Okay. Um, it only comes from our mind regarding our daily activities. And the third one are nightmares. They come from shaitan. Shaitan gives us nightmares. Sometimes we feel like we're falling off the bed, right? We get scared in a dream. We feel like we're falling off the bed. Sometimes shaitan scares us. We wake up. These are nightmares. Okay, the 3 type of dreams, remember. And the first one is the one, it's a bad tidings and it's a warning from Allah. Sometimes Allah will show you a message. You might not understand it, but you can visit scholars who can interpret dreams, who can explain dreams and give you the interpretation of the dream. Okay, the meaning of the dream. Any questions on the slide? We can move on. Feel free to ask any questions. We don't have many slides left, inshallah. We're planning to finish Prophet Ibrahim lesson already today, inshallah. Any questions you have, anything you don't understand, anything you want to ask regarding this topic, feel free to ask, inshallah. Don't hesitate, don't be shy, inshallah. If there's anything you want me to repeat, if I'm going too fast in any place, like I said, I want to take everyone along this journey with me, inshallah. Okay, if there's anything you feel like asking, okay, feel free to ask. That's fine. Let's move on, inshallah. Okay, so we're on our 5th part of Ibrahim alayhi salam's life. So remember, now in Makkah, there's Hajar, Ismail, and the family, and the 𝐿 tribe. Now later on, Hajar, she passed away. Yeah, Ismail got married, and he worked as a shepherd. Most prophets, they work as a shepherd. Does anyone know why do prophets work as a shepherd? Why does Allah put prophets to work as a shepherd? Anyone know why? No. Why do you think Allah puts prophets to work as shepherds? MashaAllah, to teach them patience. Yes, very good answer. You know, a shepherd doesn't walk around with 1 sheep or 2 sheep. They have a full flock, maybe 30, 40, right? Sometimes you're walking with them, and 1 or 2 they go astray. They take a different route. So you have to stop the full herd, forget them, put them in line. Likewise, prophets do the same thing. They're a leader of a full community. Sometimes teaching the community, 1 or 2 people might go astray. They might stop following Islam, or these 2 people might stop praying. You have to get them together and keep everyone together. So it teaches you patience, like Sister Sarah mentioned. It teaches you many things, okay? It teaches you how to keep a community together, how to keep the herd together, okay? Because every sheep is different. You might have 1 sheep that's very lazy. You might have 1 sheep that wants to be right at the front, okay? You might have 1 sheep, okay, that just loves eating and it gets carried away. You might have 1 sheep that's very weak, 1 sheep that's very sleepy. Likewise, in the community, in your family, you might have all different sorts of people. You might have a group of students, all different type of students, but you have to keep everyone together. You can't let anyone go. You can't think, you know what, that student's not learning anymore. That friend of mine is not doing salah anymore. It's fine. He's gone astray. Let him go astray. No, you have to. It's a responsibility to try to get them on that straight path. It's our responsibility. Now, building the Kaaba. Now, everyone had a house. Slowly, people started moving to Makkah. Like I said, the tribe of Jurhum. Everyone had a house. As you can see in the picture, there were little houses. Everyone had a house besides Allah. There was foundation of a house for Allah, but there was no building structure for Allah's house. So Ibrahim and Ismail they planned to build a house for Allah. And Allah sent Jibreel to show Ibrahim how to build it. Okay. So what happened was Ismail the young boy, he gave his father the rocks, and his father, he built the Kaaba. And does anyone know, like for example, nowadays when they're building obviously big buildings, they have a crane, okay? They have many different ways where they can make the building big. How did Ibrahim reach, and how did he build the upper part of the Kaaba? How did he reach so high? Does anyone know how? Obviously, he's not so high, he's not so tall that he can put bricks on the upper portion of the Kaaba. So how did he reach the upper portion of the Kaaba? Do you know how? So it's fine if you don't know. He got to the top of something called Maqam Ibrahim. If you look at I'm gonna come back to the previous slide again. If you look at the picture on the right hand side, you see a stone that has 2 footprints, right? When you go from Umrah and Hajj, inshallah, you're gonna see this. If you look at the top picture, it's like a cubicle kind of thing, a golden cubicle. This is called Maqam Ibrahim. It's like a cylinder kind of thing. It's right next to Allah's house. Yeah. So when you go to Umrah and Hajj one day, inshallah, brothers and sisters, look in that cubicle and you'll see the footprint of Prophet Ibrahim. The stone now is called Maqam Ibrahim. Okay, a stone used by Ibrahim to build the higher portion of the Kaaba. So he would stand on the stone, and Allah will elevate him. It will become like a lift for him. Yeah. He will stand on the stone. Allah will lift him up, and Allah will take him to the places where he intended to go to, and he will put the stones in the higher places. Do you understand that? So you can say it was like a flying carpet for him, or is it like, how we have flying magical carpets? So this was like a flying stone for him. He stood on it, and that would take him high, and he would be able to build the Kaaba. Okay, and this became like a miracle. Okay, and today you can still see, like when I went the 3 times Umrah, when I saw it every time, it's like a big stone in that cubicle, and it has his footprints in it. Then Allah instructed Ibrahim to tell the people. He instructed Ibrahim to tell the people to do tawaf, to go around the Kaaba. So everyone decided to go around the Kaaba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he instructed everyone to do tawaf, to go around the Kaaba. And this is how tawaf started. Like I mentioned, you have to go around Allah's house 7 times anti-clockwise. Yeah. And Ibrahim made a dua. It's in Surah Baqarah, the 2nd surah in the Quran. Ibrahim said, "Oh Lord, accept this from us. You are all hearing, all knowing. Our Lord, make us submissive to you, and make out of our descendants a community that submits itself to you, and show us the ways of pilgrimage, and accept our repentance. You are the most accepting of repentance and most compassionate." Okay. Now, Allah instructed Ibrahim alayhi salam and those that were believing Allah to go around Allah's house. Did you know that exactly where Allah's house is right now, above in the lowest heaven, there's another Allah's house, a replica version of the Kaaba. A replica version of the Kaaba is in the lowest heaven, directly above the Kaaba we see in Mecca. Who goes around this Kaaba every day? The angels. That place is called, the house is called Baytul Ma'mur, Baytul Izzah. The Quran descended onto that. From that place, it came to the Prophet. 70,000 angels every day. Even today, 70,000 angels, they go around the replica Kaaba Baytul Ma'mur in the lowest heaven, and no angel gets a second go. That's how many angels there are. So many angels. So many angels that every single day, 70,000 angels go around the replica version of the Kaaba. It's called Baytul Ma'mur, sister. Baytul Ma'mur or Baytul Izzah. That replica Kaaba in the lowest heaven is called Baytul Ma'mur. Bayt Arabic means house. Bayt al-Ma'mur or Bayt al-Izzah. Replica version of the Kaaba, 70,000 angels go around it every single day, and no angel gets a second chance. Angels are in millions and billions, so many angels. Yes? And angels, they don't have a gender. They're not male or female. They don't sleep. They don't have no needs. They don't sleep, eat. They don't have no breaks. They don't have not. They don't have no necessities like human beings. They've been functioned and they've been made in such a way that they can only do good. They only think about good. They only praise Allah. They only help Allah. They're only doing good. They don't do evil at all. They've been made of light. Angels have wings. They have different shapes, different sizes. The biggest angel is Angel Jibreel. He has 600 wings. Only 2 wings can cover this full earth. And he has 600 of these wings. Only 2 wings can cover this full earth up. Imagine that. Now, inshallah, if you have any questions, do ask before we move on to our last part of Prophet Ibrahim's story. This is part number 6 of Prophet Ibrahim's story. We're not gonna, this is the last part. No one have any questions on our previous slide? If you have any questions here, please feel free to ask before we move on to our next slide, the last part of Prophet Ibrahim's story. Okay, let's move on, inshallah. Like I mentioned, okay, sister, Ismail got married. Sister Fawzi, Ismail got married and he worked as a shepherd. Okay, so he got married, he worked as a shepherd, and we mentioned why prophets, Allah make prophets use work as a shepherd, because it teaches them many life lessons. It teaches them how to look after a community. Because if you can look after a flock of sheep, if you can make sure that they stay in line, they follow each other, and inshallah, you will also be able to lead a community. So moving on to our next slide, the last slide of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, is the first thing is Maqam Ibrahim. Maqam Ibrahim is a stone that was used to elevate Ibrahim alayhi salam and to take him around the Kaaba so he can build the upper and the higher portion of the Kaaba. Then we went over how Ibrahim alayhi was commanded by Allah to do tawaf, okay? And as you can see, there's a spelling there, sister, those the one who asked, as the angels do tawaf of that Baytul Ma'mur. Now, they never had a starting point. They never knew where to start the tawaf from. Yeah? Where to start the going around the Kaaba from. So they started from a white stone. This white stone was the starting point of the tawaf. This white stone came from Jannah. Today, it's not called a white stone anymore. Does anyone know what it's called? Today, it's not called a white stone anymore because people started kissing it so much that the sins got transferred onto this stone. It's not white anymore. The color has changed. Does anyone know what color it is now? The white stone has become the black stone. Very good, mashallah. So, how did this white stone come? I will explain to you. When Prophet Adam alayhi, when he was in Jannah, can anyone tell me what did Allah tell him? Allah told him, "Oh Adam, do whatever you want, enjoy yourself with Hawa. Just don't eat from this tree." Right? And Shaitan made Adam alayhi eat from this tree, and Allah kicked Adam and Hawa away from Jannah, kicked them out of Jannah. And when they were leaving Jannah as a souvenir, like for example, when we go to another country for holiday, we get souvenirs back, right? As a souvenir, Adam alayhi got a stone back from Jannah. And the stone, okay, the stone has now become the black stone. The stone he got from Jannah, when they put it on the Kaaba, it was white. When people start kissing this stone, the sins get transferred onto it. The evil of their hearts, the evil of the mouth, and whatever they did, the evil of the actions get transferred onto this stone, and it become from white to black now. Now, we're going to quickly go off topic. It's a very, very important lesson we need to learn. If you can see the point number 4, it says sins harden the heart spiritually. You know, we have 2 bodies we're living, by the way. When we are created, when we are given birth to come to this earth, when our mother gave birth to us, our mother gave birth only to our body, by the way. I want everyone to listen to this carefully. We are living 2 lives, not 2 lives, as in we have 2 bodies. Okay, in other words, not two lives, we have two bodies. One is the physical body, the body we can see. One is the soul, something we can't see. Did you know, brothers and sisters, that our soul was created thousands of years ago? Many, many years ago, these souls were created, by the way. 50,000 years ago, our souls were created. My soul, Brother Abdul soul, Sister Cyrus soul, Sister Fawzia's soul, all our souls were created thousands of years ago. Our body only came into existence when our mothers gave birth to us. Before our mothers gave birth to us, the angels came and they blowed the soul into you. And it's true in life. I'm sure it's happened to you, sisters and brother, that sometimes in life you meet a person. Yeah, it happened to me. Like sometimes I meet a person face to face, and me and that person, we click straight away. We get to know each other straight away. We have a lot in common. Why? It's not because this person is great or I'm great. It's because our soul met each other. My soul and the other soul, they met in the world of souls. So when our body met each other, we click straight away. And it's a hadith from the Prophet that sometimes you meet a person, you see them, you talk to them year after year, but you don't get along with them. Not because you hate them, but you just don't have much in common. You probably speak to them, hi, how are you? How's family? That's it. You don't have much to talk to them about. You know why? Because when your soul met their soul in the world of souls, your soul and their soul never had much in common. Everyone understood that? Because the Prophet said this in the hadith. Al-arwahu junudun mujannada. Okay, that the souls are like armies. Some souls, they recognize each other. When they recognize each other, it's because they recognize each other in the world of souls. Did you all understand that? Now, our soul is the main focus of our life. Brothers and sisters, when the angel of death comes, does he take our body or our soul? What does the angel of death take, our body or our soul? The soul, right? We're feeding our body biryani, we're feeding our body chicken, we're feeding our body rice, we're feeding our body burgers, we're feeding our body so much, but we don't feed our soul. Now, body we feed so much, we go to the gym, we try to stay fit, we go play football, we do exercise, we try to stay fit. That body is going to become food for insects when we get buried, when we pass away, right? What about our soul? Why don't we feed our soul? And think about, we can't give the food of the body to the soul. We can't just eat biryani all day and say our soul is being fed. No. Our soul's food is different. Our soul's food is Quran, remembering Allah, okay? Listening to talks, praying salah, giving charity. That's the food for the soul. So what I tell my students all the time is every time you feed the body, you feed the soul. For example, at breakfast, you had tea and biscuits. You're going to give a breakfast to your soul. You're going to say Subhanallah 20 times. For lunch, maybe you had chicken and you had maybe rice, chicken and rice, yeah? So you're going to give lunch to your soul as well. Maybe you're going to read Quran for 20 minutes. For tea time, you had some snacks for your body. You're going to give some snacks to the soul, yeah? Maybe you can give some charity, or you can do some dua, or you can listen to a lecture on YouTube. Feed the soul, because your body, when it's hungry, it starts to rumble, it starts to make sounds. It's giving you one that feed me, I'm hungry, but the soul won't. And we're gonna make the soul anorexic, and the soul will die. And remember, why have we come to this earth? Allah has made three creations. Think about this. It's a very, very important point. Allah made three creations: angels, human beings, and jinns, and the bottom is animals. Like I said, angels have been made in such a way that they function, they only think of good. They're always going to be good. Angels can never go down or up. They are always good. They can't think of evil. They don't have any necessities, okay? They don't have any gender. They don't feel sleepy. They don't need to eat. They don't need to relax. They don't do education. They don't do nothing. They're just good creations of Allah. Okay, so they're the highest of creation. The lowest of creation is animals. Allah doesn't expect the animals to be good. They can sleep all day, they can eat all day, they can hit one another, they won't be questioned by Allah. Yeah? Animals, nature doesn't rise or sink. If a rhino sleeps all day, Allah won't tell the rhino, why did you sleep all day? Why didn't you go and feed your family? Allah doesn't care about that, right? It is there to benefit us. The only creation that can rise and become good like angels, or that can sink and become worse than animals, is what? Human beings. We're in here for a test. If we be good and we live our life according to the way Allah wants us to, we will be boasted by angels in front of Allah. Or if we become bad and we just sleep all day, we just watch movies all day, we don't pray, we don't do nothing, we're going to become worse than animals, right? Yeah, jinns too, they also have a life like us. You know, in our world, sister and brother, um, they also have a world that we can't see. So, for example, our restaurant could be maybe their school. Yeah, our world is enwrapped with their world. We can't see the world; they can see us. We won't bump into them; they won't bump into us. We're living on Earth. They in the Earth, they're living the life as well. Okay. Sometimes they show themselves. Okay, they sometimes show themselves. Most of them are it's like human beings. Some are good, some are bad. The word jinns, people get scared, oh, jinns are evil. No, jinns are like human beings, bad and good. Okay, so remember about that. Okay, what I said about the soul. Feed the soul. The soul is like a plant. I'm sure everyone here, okay, most of you are from India. You all know regarding planting, right? So we can't water the plant once a week or once a month. We can't put 5 liters of water over the plant and then leave it how it is. We can't put drinks over the plant. It needs water. It needs light. It needs some sunlight. It needs protection. If it's cold, you need to bring it home. The soul is the same. You can't read Quran for 5 hours on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No Quran, no Salah. You can't do that. Just like the plant needs special amount of attention every day for it to grow, you have to give the same amount of attention to the soul. Because if you don't, and the angel of death comes and takes our soul, then our soul will be of a very, very smelling soul. The angel of death will take the soul, and other angels are going to be like, what's this very bad smell? And the angel of death will be like, oh, it's this person. If you're a good person, the angel of death will take the soul out. You won't feel anything. If you're an evil person, when the angel of death pulls your soul out, you're going to hurt. And inshallah, our soul becomes of the souls of the ''Aliyyin'. There's a surah in the Quran called Surah Mutaffifin. It talks about the place of the soul. There's two places. One place is ''Aliyyin', it's for the good soul. And one place is ''Sijjin', for the evil soul. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us and make our souls and our family souls and everyone we love and all the Muslims, our souls go to the abode, to the place of the ''Aliyyin'. So feed the soul. Every time you feed the body, feed the soul. Okay? Okay, we don't have much time left, inshallah. We have like 1 or 2 slides left. So, Sister Sarah just mentioned earlier the history of the Kaaba. If you look at the picture here, this is the Kaaba side at the time of Prophet Ibrahim. It doesn't look like that anymore because it's changed. So, the foundations of Allah's house was laid before Prophet Ibrahim. It was laid from Prophet Adam time. Maybe there was sticks there, maybe there was an engraving there, maybe there was a writing there or something. Allah knows, I don't know exactly, but there was some foundation built. And upon that foundation, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he built a building. Yes? So this was the history of the Kaaba. So the foundations were built before Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, from Prophet Adam alayhi salam time. And how do we know that? From the verse. If you look at the verse, look what Allah says. Our Lord, I have settled some of my descendants in an uncultivated valley near your sacred house. If Ibrahim alayhi salam hadn't already built the Kaaba, then why did he say near your sacred house? Because there's already some foundations there. Just 2 more slides left, inshallah, before we finish. Okay, any questions? Or can we carry on? I know there's a lot of information today. There will be a lot of information like that in our next few lessons, okay? If you have any questions at the end of the lesson, do feel free to ask, and do go over the recording. I'll give you the slides as well. This is the last part of our lesson today. So 𝐿 and 𝐿𝐻𝐵. We spoke about 𝐿. Can anyone tell me who 𝐿 are? Who are 𝐿? We spoke about them before. Who are the type of 𝐿? MashaAllah, they're the people that found. So the birds above Zamzam, very good, MashaAllah, brother and sister. They found Hajar Ismail and they were living in Makkah. Yeah. Now listen to this carefully. It's very, very important. Okay. So they've built the Kaaba now. Now in Makkah, there's 2 families. There's the family of Ismail alayhi salam, and there's the family of the 𝐿. There's many people living in Makkah. Now, some tribes, they left Yemen and they went to Yathrib. Yathrib is Medina, yeah? Some tribes, they left They left Yemen, they went to Medina, they went to Oman, they went to Syria. One tribe called 𝐏𝐫𝐸, they came to Mecca. So 𝐏𝐫𝐸, remember this name 𝐏𝐫𝐸, they came to Mecca and they tried to settle in Mecca. They came to the border of Mecca and they settled in the border of Mecca. And they were very strong. They had a big tribe. They fighted the people of Durhum. They fighted the people of Durhum and they defeated the people of Durhum. Now 𝐏𝐫𝐸 came hundreds of years after the death of Ismail. By the time 𝐏𝐫𝐸 came, Ibrahim was he had passed away. This was like hundreds of years after Ismail's death. But the leader of Durhum was very clever. He hid the black stone and he hid the Zamzam well. Did you know that the black stone and the Zamzam well were hidden for thousands of years, by the way? You know, after Durhum took over all the way from Durhum, from 𝐏𝐫𝐸's time, all the way until Prophet Muhammad's grandfather, 𝐊𝕒𝕚𝕒𝕚, that's like 2,000-3,000 years maybe, or 4,000-5,000 years. For a long time, there was no Zamzam. Why? Because the leader of Durhum, he hid the Zamzam well, he hid the black stone, because he didn't want the leader of 𝐏𝐫𝐸 to win the battle and take in charge. He didn't want them to take the Zamzam well and the black stone. So he hid everything, he covered it up, put stones over it so no one can find it. And after thousands of years, Prophet Muhammad's grandfather found it. We're going to come to that inshallah in our next lesson. Now, 𝐏𝐫𝐸 then ruled Makkah for a very long time. Yeah? And if you see a name in the fourth to last point, Amr bin Luhay. Amr bin Luhay was a good believer. He went to Syria and he saw people worshipping idols. They shocked him and they convinced Amr. They told Amr, look, take one idol with you, worship Allah and worship these idols as well. And this is how idol worshipping started, and this is how idol worshipping came into Makkah. There were many idols around the Kaaba. What is a mushrik and what is shirk? A person who makes partners with Allah, a person who believes in Allah, and a person who believes in other gods, they have committed a sin called shirk. Allah forgives all sins. If you murder someone, Allah will forgive you if you sincerely ask Allah forgiveness. If you steal from someone, if you do so many sins, you're breaking things, yeah? You can break a masjid, Allah will forgive you for all sins. The only sin Allah doesn't forgive you is from shirk. Shirk is the worst of sins. Shirk is ascribing, making partners with Allah, believing in Allah and believing in other gods. That's shirk. So Amr bin Luhay, he was the first one to bring idols to the Kaaba. And you know how many idols were in and around the Kaaba, anyone? Altogether, there were 360 idols around the Kaaba. In and around the Kaaba, there were 360 idols. Some of them are mentioned on the screen. Number one is 𝐿𝐴. Okay, 𝐿𝐴 is mentioned in the Quran as well. Yeah, 𝐿𝐴 is mentioned in the Quran. Okay, وَلَا تَذَرُنَّ وَدًّا وَلَا سُوَاعًا. 𝐿𝐴 is also mentioned in the Quran. Okay, Allah says أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى إِسَافْ نَصْرَ ذو الشراء ود حبل يعوق اللات ذو الخلاصة منات ذو الكفين يغوث نيلة. So a lot of the Quran verses in Surah Nuh and Surah Najm, Allah speaks about these idols. Allah says ولا يغوث ويعوق ونصر ومناة الثالثة الأخرى أفرأيتم اللات والعزى. Also in Surah Nuh, Allah says ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا. There were 360 idols in and around the Kaaba, and it all started from Amr bin Luhay bringing one. He only brought Hubal. After he brought one, they started. Look, this is how idol worshipping started. They told Amr bin Luhay, you can worship Allah, but you can leave this idol next to Allah's house, and you can obviously worship that as well. Slowly, they stopped worshipping Allah, and they only started worshipping idols. People in the past would do that, by the way. For example, when a scholar of a area passed away, and Shaitan would come and tell them, look, draw a sketch of this person. So every time you worship Allah, you can make a dua for that person, the scholar who passed away. Slowly, the ink of that sketch would wipe away because of the rain. And they said, look, just make a statue. Every time you worship Allah and you look at the statue, you can make dua for that to Allah. Slowly, 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 Shaitan made them worship the statue and not Allah anymore. This is how Shaitan works. He makes you start from small steps, and then he makes you do a big sin and a bigger sin and a bigger sin, and slowly, slowly, you're addicted to the sin. So it first comes from a thought. Shaitan first gives out a thought. When he gives you that thought, delete it. Because if you think about that thought, that thought's going to become an action. If you do the action, soon the action you're going to keep doing is going to become a habit. If you keep doing this action and it becomes a habit, soon it's going to become an addiction, and it's going to become our life. And it's going to become our fate. So as soon as Shaitan gives you an evil intention, delete it immediately. That was the end of the lesson. We went over Ibrahim Alayhi's story. Okay, a quick recap of what we went over. We went over Ibrahim Alayhi, his story, how he migrated to Egypt. He got married to Sarah's slave girl Hajar. He had a child called Ismail, and how Ismail and Hajar were left in Mecca alone, and then he got Zamzam, and then Jurhum came, and all the actions they did were beloved to Allah. That's why it's part of Hajj and Umrah, and how Allah gave him a test to slaughter Ismail, and Ismail's son was, yes, go for it, and how Shaitan tried to stop them many times. And this is also in Hajj as well. And Eid al-Adha, we slaughter an animal because of the sacrifice of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And how Hajar passed away, they built the Kaaba, and Ismail got married and worked as a shepherd. And the Maqam Ibrahim, how he would elevate from Ibrahim so he could fix the upper portion of the Kaaba. And we spoke about the soul, how the soul needs to be fed just like the body as well. History of the Kaaba, how the structure of the Kaaba, okay, was just maybe built recently, but the foundation was built many thousands of years ago. Jurhum and Jurhum lived for a long time. Khuzaa came and they over. And the leader of Jurhum, he hid everything. And then we learn about how idol worshipping started in Makkah. Amr bin Luhay, he got one idol called Hubal. Story there were 360 idols in and around the Kaaba. Okay, that brings us to an end, brothers and sisters. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Any questions before we wrap it up? Before we finish the lesson? Okay then, brothers and sisters, hopefully you enjoyed the lesson. Hopefully it was beneficial for you. Inshallah, I'll see you next week on Saturday, inshallah. Do go over the lesson slides, do make notes, inshallah, and try to learn everything so we can go through this journey together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.